Hello. Let's go through this follow along warm-up routine. So warm up before any workout, or you can use it as morning mobility and just stretching routine if you want, and or parts of it, whatever works. So generally, I recommend that you do a head to toe mobility and dynamic stretching routine before any warm up, any workout. So let's start with the neck. And these are going to be gentle movements, but just enough to feel your muscles kind of waking up. You gently take your ear towards each shoulder 2 or 3 times per side, and then you look over the shoulders again 2 or 3 times, and up and down. So you're not trying to go into any hyperextension of the neck, but just looking up towards the ceiling and then tucking the chin. Then we move to shoulders. So arms are straight, and we're gonna trace. Imagine that you have a little pencil on your shoulder and you're tracing these nice wide circles from turning your shoulders front to back, usually 5 to 10 reps. I settle on 7 just because it's a good number and it seems to work great. So 7 circles front to back, and then reverse and go back to front. Same idea, nice big circles, as big as you can, and 7. Next, we're gonna bring our arms in a straight angle, 90-degree angle. Palms are up and elbows are stuck to the torso, and we're opening to the side again for 7. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And then if you have a wall available, I strongly encourage you to do this. If not, you can do it while standing. You just have to be aware of basically, so your arms, your upper arms will be at a 45 or so angle, and shoulders are on the wall, and so are your elbows. So what you're going to do is you're going to lower your forearms down towards the floor, even if it's just a little bit, as much as you can do it without moving, without dumping your shoulders forward. So you will feel quite a bit of work in your rotator cuff muscles, and then you can alternate 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So again, if you were to do that standing, just place your elbows lower than your shoulders, and there's going to be a bit of extra movement, but you can still do it. So again, you're trying to move your shoulders as little as possible, keeping the shoulder blades nice and steady. And again, you go for 7, and then you alternate again for 7. So whichever works. Ideally, like I said, you do it against the wall. You don't have to, as long as you go nice and slow and you really feel your shoulders working quite hard. It's still a warm-up. Yes, it's not a workout, but it's important that we warm up the shoulders properly. Arms go out, and we lock the elbows, and again trace some big circles front to back for 7, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Try to keep your shoulder blades nice and steady, and then back to front. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Another one that you can do is you put your fingers on your shoulders, a little bit less intense than full on shoulder arm circles. So fingers on shoulders, and you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, and then reverse 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So by now you should feel your arms warming up pretty nicely. You can certainly add a little alternating front arm raise. So you just alternate. If you want to get your heart rate up a little bit more, you can add a little march in, and that should be a pretty good warm up for the shoulders. Next, you can I do some hip circles. So you just rotate your hips in one direction for 7, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Again, nothing dramatic. We're still warming up here. and switch and go in the other direction. 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And then you switch, you go to single leg hip circle. If you have any pain in your hip at all or feels uncomfortable, so what I propose here is that we stand on one leg and then you do front to back hip circles. If it feels, again, for 7 and 6 and 7, and then we reverse back to front. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I'm gonna show you on the other leg, so you do the same thing on both if that works. But if you have any kind of, you know, just any pain or discomfort, then you can do stirring movement. Same idea, smaller circles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, and reverse. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Definitely okay to hold on to a wall with finger or anything just to keep your balance, but otherwise try to play with improving your balance. Next we go to ankles. So again, find your balance, leg a little bit like towards 90-degree angle, and we do ankle circles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and reverse. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then you straighten the leg and point your toes and point towards the ceiling. So you go up and down for 7, 4, 5, 6, and 7, and then you switch to the other leg. Again, find your balance. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and reverse. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So, all right, and then you straighten and point. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So this is the standing part of the routine. And then we go down and do a bit of warm up for the spine. So for this one, we're gonna do first some cat-cows. So you find your neutral back, your wrists are under your shoulders and knees under your hips, back is straight and neck neutral, just nice long neck. And we're gonna do some cat-cow. So you're gonna drop your belly towards the mat on an inhale and exhale, round your back. 4, 7, 2, 3, and 4, 5, 6, and 7. If you want, you can add, like still holding your back in a nice arch, you can add a few extra exercises, extra stretches for your shoulders, this dynamic stretch that hold your hands in place and drop your hips towards your heels. And again, you can do that for 7. After which, you drop your hips a little bit towards your heels. Your arms are nicely stretched. One of them will stay stretched, and the other one, I'll just start this way so you can see. The other one, you put behind put your hand behind your back, and you touch your stretched arm with your elbow, and then turn towards the ceiling with your gaze following. And you can do either 5 or 7 of these, but you want to keep your lower back, your hips nice and steady. So this is an upper spine mobility, and once you do 7 reps, you switch to the other side. 1, keep your hips steady. 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we do another one for the shoulders and actually spine as well and hips. So thread the needle with an adductor rock back. One leg goes to the side, arm on the same side goes up, and we drop the shoulder towards the mat. 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And before we switch to the other side, we do a rock back. So we drop the hips towards the heels and towards the heel for 5 again. So you'll feel a nice stretch in your inner thigh. And then we do the same thing on the other side. So arm up towards the ceiling and drop your shoulder down towards the mat while keeping your leg nice and stretched for 5. And then we add the adductor rock back. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right, and now we're down to some more hips. So knee lunges. Bring your one of the legs, one of the feet up on the mat, legs at 90 degrees, and tuck your tailbone just a bit. So now you're going to lean forward so that your knee will track over the toes, but you want to work with your hip rather than lower back. So you're not hyperextending the lower back in doing this, but you're trying to see how far you can reach with extending your hip. So again, you do this for 5, and then you take, so if this was your 12 o'clock or straight forward, then you go towards the middle there, so 45-degree angle, and you do the same thing, leaning into it for 5, 3, and 4, and 5, and then laterally 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then you switch to the other side, same idea, foot in front of you, tuck your tailbone in, and try to keep this movement out of stressing your lower back. 2, 3. It is a very good exercise for hip mobility and 45 degrees. If you want, you can certainly add a little bit of weight to it that you would just hold in front of your body here, but you don't have to. This works just as well to start with, and then later on you can work on improving hip mobility. 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right. So then you can add, optionally, you can add this extra routine for your hips, where like we already did the hip circles. You can bring your legs to a 90-90. I guess you can't see me quite so well. You bring your legs to a 90-90 on approximately on the mat, and then you take one leg forward, supporting yourself with your hand on opposite knee, and then hold it into a hover, and you take it back into that 90-90. So you lean forward and make sure that there's no pinching or any awkward feeling in your hip, and work to just improve your hip mobility this way. But like I said, it's not a must. See how you feel. Your body will let you know. And then you switch to the other side, straight leg, and take it back to a 90-degree angle while keeping everything in a hover. If the hover is too complicated or it feels too awkward, feel free to just have your foot on the mat at all times. All right. And a couple of extra movements for the shoulders. If you want to include an elastic band, which is, I find, very beneficial, you can certainly do, I'll just use this one. So put a bit of tension on the band, and you'll kind of have your arms stretched in front of you and bend approximately eye level. And you're going to bring your arms across the chest, open them across the chest with the band reaching your body. 3, and again, in this case, you can go again 5 to 10. I like to do 10 just because I am constantly working on preparing my shoulders for workouts and rehabbing them for in case of you know, some aches and pains here and there. So you do this for 10. The next one, again, put in a bit of, you can certainly do the The external rotation one, same idea. So palms are facing up, elbows are stuck to the body, and you hold, you open and hold for a couple of seconds and then release. Again, you go, I usually go for 10, anywhere 5 to 10 is great. And then another one that I do is this, I call it sword drawing just because it looks like it and it sounds kind of fun. So again, a bit of tension on the band. One hand will be stuck right here in front of your hip, and the other one, imagine that you're literally drawing your sword, except it's gonna be your band and you're taking it all the way up in a diagonal movement, ideally with your head and neck following so that you're not straining your neck. And then you take it to the other side, and you can use tubing, you can use bands, whatever works with tubing. Just make sure you're not whacking yourself on the face, which is something that I did a few times and now I've learned. So again, your hand is stuck, one hand is stuck on your hip, and of course you keep your core engaged and slightly soft knee so you have good stability so you can work on your shoulders. And then you bring it up, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and so on if you want to continue to 10. And you can do a couple of reps of this one. And at the very end, like I said, you can add a couple of dynamic movements. So you can add some air squats to your to the end of your dynamic warm-up, and you can add even some deep squats if that works, and some good mornings. You can add some plyometrics, just jumping from side to side, or doing jumping squats, right? They also work. And generally just anything that will get your heart rate up a little bit. Then stop, take a couple of deep breaths, and you're ready to start your workout or your day. Thank you, and have fun with it.